via Facebook Live and YouTube Live. You can also download our iOS and Android apps and tune in via your smartphone. As always, listeners, you can text and WhatsApp your comments live into the show on 07745 278 977 or call into the studio live on 01733 602 133. If you're joining us via Facebook Live, then feel free to leave a comment or question, and we hope to share them throughout the show this evening. Now, this evening we'll be focusing more on the culture and lifestyle aspect of the show, and we'll be talking about the creative ways in which people can get involved in charity. Charity is something that forms an integral part of many people's lives, whether we are active in fundraising or doing charity work. And many of you will have heard of the saying, smiling is charity. We often associate charity as an act of giving, be it clothes, money or food. But we're going to look at this a little bit deeper today, and we're going to have some amazing guests on the show, inshallah, live in the studio. We'll have Sister Sadak from Muslim Aid, which is one of the largest Muslim charities in the UK, and we'll also be joined by a local brother from Children of Adam. Now, Sadak has a background in genetics and cancer research, but moved to the charity sector in 2011 and joined Islamic Help as a fundraising officer. Then she moved to SKT Welfare in 2015 as head of UK fundraising, mashallah, and has recently joined Muslim Aid as a project manager. We'll also be talking to Brother Shujah later on in the show. As many of you will know, he's a brother from the local charity Children of Adam. But before we go ahead and talk to our guests, we're just going to play a track by Dawood Hornsby, and I think this track is very much in line with what we're going to be talking about. It is called The Letter, so I really hope you enjoy it, inshallah.
You don't know me, but I'm your brother on this land. You'll never know my name, never know exactly where I am. I'm a part of you, you're a part of me too. One life saved is like all mankind. Sometimes I wonder about the people of this world. So much wealth, so many fists so tightly curled. Enough for you should be enough for two. One life lost is like all mankind. You don't see the look of fear in children's eyes. You don't hear my sister cry at night, and you don't smell the garbage in the stream, and you don't know how very little food we eat. Not a thing belongs to you or me, it's all a trust from divine rich bounty, and the tree of greed starts from a seed that's planted when we don't give. Do you know how it feels to be alone? Do you know how it feels to sleep in snow? Do you know what it really means to pray? Can you tell me why they took my dad away? I don't mean to seem bold or to seem rude. I'm not begging for your shelter or your food. I'm just asking you to care and to be aware. At the very least, think of me. Peace be with you. Sign your brother on this land.
Assalamu alaikum listeners, welcome back. You're listening to Salaam Radio on 106.2 FM. This is the second installment to the Arts, Culture and Lifestyle show. That was an amazing track by Brother Dawood Hornsby, and I think one of my favourite lines is "Enough for you is enough for two." And that's very apt because we're going to be talking about charity today, inshallah. Now, I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest. We have Sister Sadak come down all the way from London. Assalamu alaikum, sister.
Wa alaikum assalam, Toqeer.
How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, very well, thank you. Look, thank you very much for coming down to the studio. It's a warm welcome to you. Really hope you enjoyed the show, inshallah.
Inshallah.
We're going to be talking a bit about what you do, about your role, about your job, about your history.
Okay.
I talked a little bit about your history. We gave the listeners a bit of a bio about you. But I'm interested because you've got a background in genetics, cancer research, and then how does one go from there and then go into the charity sector?
Well, I think growing up, I was confident that I want to go into science and especially into the caring industry. So I was undecided whether I wanted to become a doctor or a dentist, but one of the two. Typical Desi family. So I was going to do it for mum and dad. And to be fair, I was really passionate about the caring industry. So I did my undergrad and then I took a gap year. And the gap year was for the purpose of helping me decide whether I wanted to go into cancer research because I had a PhD that I really wanted to pursue. And then I also had an offer for dentistry at the University of Birmingham. So I thought, okay, let's take a gap year, travel the world a bit, learn a bit of Arabic, and then maybe decide. And I heard of this great project where young volunteers were being recruited to fundraise and advocate for different causes within Africa. And I thought this was fantastic because as a young Muslim woman, to have a Muslim charity that was recruiting and saying, we'll take you and we're going to obviously create a safe atmosphere for you to go out and do charity work, and then you get to go to Africa. So I signed up, and I think in the space of 2 months I raised £5,000.
Wow, mashallah.
And by default they made me team leader for the malaria prevention team. So we had to research, what is malaria, how it affects people, what are the preventative measures that we can put in place to really help reduce the impact of malaria. And so there's a lot of research involved, which I absolutely loved. And then I went out to a little island called Mafia, southeast of Tanzania, and that was a life-changing process because really seeing them in this little island, 50,000 people, very little remote access to clean water. And then we were setting up livelihood projects. I was holding malaria prevention workshops with my team where we were giving out nets that were treated with insecticides to prevent them or the mosquitoes from getting in and harming them. And then I recall on the last day we went to a hospital. And this hospital, probably there was about, I think, 30 or 40 little infants, really cute little babies on each and every single bed, some with families, some without, and they were all ill. And we asked them, okay, look, what's the situation here? And the doctors told us that they all have malaria. And I think at that point the statistics were something around that 80% of them will die from the disease. And for me, that was really hard to take in. I think I was going through a bit of a spiritual journey as well.
Right, okay.
Because I was 21 years old, and I thought, yes, I want to become a dentist, earn a lot of good money, and live a nice, healthy lifestyle, flashy car. And then at that day, I just remember just being so shell-shocked that I couldn't even have a normal conversation for the rest of the day. And then I think when I came back, I kept crying about it, and then I just felt like, surely God wants me to do more. Surely I've been exposed to this for a reason. Am I meant to now ignore this and then pack my bags up and go to uni and pretend that I've never seen this, and there's not poverty all across the world, and that there are people that need help, but I've got better things to do. I need to sort my life out. I don't know, I was having this massive internal battle. And at that time, the charity had offered me a job as they were recruiting for a first female fundraising officer. Wow. So they offered me this role. And I initially shut it down, saying, no, mom and dad are not going to let me do this. so this is a no. And but when I came back, I actually walked into the director's office and asked him if the offer was still on the table. And I took the job. And that was it for me. I think over the next 2 to 3 years, I fundraised in the capacity of an officer, then became management, and
this was all with Islamic Help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I did my
So
first
you were the first, so just to get this right, you were the first female
fundraising officer for Islamic Help. Yeah.
For Islamic Help.
Yeah.
MashaAllah, wow.
And that was big, I guess, and it was different for me as well, because I knew nothing about fundraising or about community engagement or volunteer management or event management. And so for me, it was a massive learning curve, having to learn all this and then make connections and then also network and constantly actively fundraise. And there were a lot of great causes that Islamic Help did, and I was really passionate about, especially being a woman. You know, there was this entire project around acid attacks on women across the world. So Pakistan, India, Uganda, and a few other countries. And these were women that were, and some men that were attacked with acid and literally completely disfigured, burnt, they lose eyesight, senses. And for me, this was something that I was so passionate about. So for years, I was raising funds and trying to support this project as well as many others.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So you've got a big history in fundraising.
Yeah. Yeah.
But obviously, it's coming across like it's a really big passion. And you're saying it was like almost a calling for you to be doing this.
It did because the whole purpose of me taking that gap year was I was so undecided.
Okay.
Dentistry, PhD. Do I ever want to do this? Why do I want to do this? You know.
And little did you know you'd be out there and doing this, and your whole life would change.
Yeah, completely. It was the biggest U-turn. And I don't think I'd ever anticipated me getting involved in any charity work. So it was all very much me just following my heart.
Absolutely.
And I think that was my intention, that I'm just going to do what my heart's saying.
What feels right.
Yeah, and what feels right. It really was about doing what feels right. And I think since then, there's just been no looking back for me. And alhamdulillah, it's been such a great experience because not only have I, people will say to me, you must get a lot of job satisfaction. And I'm like, I find that concept a bit bizarre because people always say job satisfaction because they want to feel good in the work that they're doing or feel like it's making an impact, etc. So I don't even know if it is making an impact or not. That's for Allah to decide and to say. But I know for sure that I benefited a great deal from the entire process. I know, I've been doing this for 8 years now.
MashaAllah. And
I just feel like it's completely transformed me. I've met some of my closest friends in the sector. I feel like it's brought me closer to my Lord. And then I think every child must, to some extent, wish or pray that their parents are proud of them. And it always gives me so much happiness when I know that my mum or dad, they're my biggest advocators. And they're my biggest fundraisers. If I ever say, I want to raise money for this project, they're the first ones going to all the neighbours, all the friends saying, our daughter's doing this, we're going to raise money. That, means the world to me, and I guess that's my job satisfaction.
Wow. Oh wow, that's amazing, and I hope that you're an inspiration to many of the listeners and other females out there, who even males out there who want to do something like this. And I know that I've been inspired by you in the past, and I've been doing a lot of charity work myself, alhamdulillah. So from Islamic Help you moved to SKT Welfare, and you were there as a head of UK fundraising. Yeah. So that was a big step up, right?
Yeah, no, it was.
And then you were there with them for
almost 3 years as well.
Almost 3 years. And then recently, I think I'm interested in this. Recently you moved to Muslim Aid. And I know we've been talking and you've launched Boots On.
Yeah.
Now that sounds like a really catchy, fun name. So tell me about Boots On.
Okay, well, obviously with having so much experience in fundraising, I kind of realized that the backbone of every single charity is the volunteers. This goes without saying. It doesn't matter how great your advertising is or your marketing strategy is or your communications team. What drives any charity forward are the volunteers. They are your biggest ambassadors. They are your biggest advocates. They are your biggest marketing tool, really, if you think about it. Because these are people that give up their spare time. They all have 9 to 5 jobs or whatever, etc. But they give up their spare time, which is very critical and important, to do work as sadaqah for the sake of Allah and for improving the lives of so many beneficiaries. Yeah, in so many charities, there's one recurring issue, which is that volunteers don't really get anything back in turn from the charities that they volunteer for.
Right, okay.
And for me, this has always been interesting because, alhamdulillah, I've been fortunate enough where I've worked with volunteers from the bottom level. I was a volunteer myself.
Right.
So I know what little support I did or didn't get. I've seen kids come in at the age of 14, 15, 16 and grow up to become, young professionals. And for me, what's key motivator is that this for them, at least in the Muslim arena, is a platform where they can get real life skills, is where they can interact with the world on a large platform and really, have an experience like no other. And we're quite fortunate where this is now happening a lot. In 2018, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, these opportunities just weren't around. Like my siblings always tell me that, Sadak, you're really fortunate that, you had this. We didn't have anything. And even for my generation, it was a bit later on in the day that these opportunities became available. So I left SKT with the view that when I go to Muslim Aid, I want to create a platform where volunteers are going to be the beneficiaries as well.
Wow.
That they are also going to benefit from the experience. And that for me, what changed my life was obviously having the experience of going out to Africa myself and learning about the cause and developing, and then it completely transformed the direction that I was meant to go into. So here at Boots On, we know this. We know who and how important our volunteers are, and they're literally at the forefront of this entire project. So what we've devised here is a program by where we recruit volunteers that are passionate, and this isn't restricted by age. So yes, you got your minimum age of 18 years, but really upwards and onwards. Toqeer, you're a working professional.
That's right.
And you joined in that capacity. We've had 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds. We've even had people that are like have committed to retiring and they want to get involved. And that's the beauty of this program, is taking volunteers across a wide range of audiences and saying to them that we're going to give you a platform where we're going to show you the engine and the mechanics behind how a charity operates. But in doing so, we're going to teach you about raising awareness, about fundraising, about even child protection, for example, about the complexities of delivering aid in different parts of the world. The way we operate in the Middle East is far different to how we operate in Southeast Asia, and far different to Africa. So it's about really broadening their vision as well. And how many volunteers and even donors give their zakat, their sadaqah, year in, year out. And so many people are cynical, and rightfully so perhaps, about where the money is going and how it's being spent. So this project actually says to our volunteers and donors, well, why don't you come out with us? Why don't you raise your zakat, raise your sadaqah, and then come out with us and meet the beneficiaries that you are passionate about supporting. And in doing so, you are also benefiting from the entire experience. And at the same time, you're meeting so many great people on the entire program as well. So that's, I guess, that's the vision behind the program.
Wow.
And alhamdulillah, Toqeer joined us on our first pilot project in December to Jordan, right?
Yeah.
And this was us just scoping out Jordan. And there were 7 volunteers and myself. We went to Jordan. We were doing a food parcel distribution with Syrian refugees and some Palestinian refugees.
That's right, yeah.
And you saw there how the Palestinian refugees lived, and where the Jordanian poor families lived, and where the Syrian families lived. And you could just see the cause right at hand, and you could talk to the beneficiaries and understand what life is like for them. And now I personally went to Lebanon to again work with the Syrian Palestinian refugees there, and their situation is so much more different to what Jordan is like, even though they're almost neighbours. And inshallah, with this program, we're looking at Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and in the future we're looking at Somalia and Sudan. So we're offering a plethora of opportunities to volunteers that really you won't have access to. Where in the Muslim sector are you able to look forward to going out with a contingent of other volunteers or people that are very like-minded or passionate just as you are, to deliver aid in a safe environment with a charity that can be trusted and has operated all over the world, right, for over 30 years. And this is what we're bringing forward with Boots On.
Wow. I mean, that sounds really quite exciting. And as you mentioned, obviously, I went out with you in December. And personally, going from fundraising to then traveling out there to then packing the food parcels and then delivering them. It's a beginning to end process, isn't it? The volunteers get to see what is happening. So they get to see they're confident in what they're doing. They get to share that information with their stories. And obviously, as they're out there, they're sharing this information back. So Boots On, really, what you're trying to say is about empowering volunteers. Because, so many times we've been to like events, charity concerts. And you got volunteers standing on the side with buckets, which is great, mashallah, because those concerts wouldn't take place without volunteers. But it's about empowering the volunteers, isn't it? It's about giving the volunteers a little bit more and making this more of a community, an event, and you taking people out to wherever you will be going this year, inshallah. And we pray that, you know, you have lots of opportunities. Is going to be giving those volunteers that opportunity, and that is excellent.
It's giving them life skills. You know, you at the end of the day, especially for perhaps young parents, you know, you're raising teenagers, you want them to have confidence, you want them to have a really good understanding of the world as it is, not just like the glorified version, but the dark and gritty aspect of it as well. You want them to be, and you also want to know that, you know, you're raising someone that is conscious and they're aware and they know about even the Islamic principles and how we feel about people in poverty and where charity sits with us. So it's just really bringing that to life on this side as well.
Wow, excellent. I mean, and obviously Muslim Aid isn't the only charity that does this. I know that there are lots of our charities out there that are taking volunteers out, and there are many programs like this available. So if this is something that you want to get involved in, listeners, this is something that you're interested in, something that you've always thought about and thought it's too much of a big move, how am I supposed to go out there, how am I going to raise all this money? Well, get in touch with your local charities, get in touch with your local representative of your charities, find out about what is going on and get yourselves involved. I think charity is more than just us sending our zakat every year, setting up a direct debit every year. It's more about how we can be more creative in the way that we do charity. And I talked about earlier on how charity is more than, it's just smiling, being nice to somebody, helping somebody cross the road. This is charity, and I think charity needs to be a very integral part of of our lifestyles. And I think what you're doing is really, for some of those ambitious people who really want to do something with their lives, this is really providing them with an excellent opportunity. And if I talk about myself, the first time when I went out with you to Turkey a few years back, I was just scrolling Facebook. I was literally just scrolling my Facebook feed. It was Ramadan. You know, we all feeling quite charitable in Ramadan. And this post came up, taking volunteers out. I said to my wife, wow. And at that time, I was at the stage of my life where I felt like I was at a crossroads. I wanted something different. A little bit like what you explained earlier on. I wanted something different. Mashallah, I've got 3 kids, I've got family. I'm a teacher. I've been busy with that. And I just thought, I need something different. I need some inspiration. And this advert came along and I applied and that was it. And before I knew it, I'd never raised any money before. You know, and this is what I was really scared about. I think, how am I going to raise thousands of pounds? And I did, mashallah. I actually went over my target.
How much did you raise?
I think I raised just over £4,000.
So go through that process then, because I think with a lot of volunteers, and at least I face this a lot as well, when people contact me and they're like, oh, but you know, you got to raise £2,500 or £3,000. That sounds like a lot. And I'm always like, do not worry about the fundraising. Everything falls into place.
And I think you said that to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
But so maybe you should like discuss that with people, because then it'll inspire.
Well, I think when you put posts like this out on Facebook and you tell your family members, you don't realize how much you inspire people. And a lot of people will look up to you and say, wow, this is amazing. And for a lot of people, handing cash over to somebody that they know, somebody that they trust, that's what I learned, is that people were just happy to give me cash. And I was like, oh, wow. People are trusting me with their money, and and that's a big responsibility in itself. But I felt really privileged, mashallah, and I thought, this is amazing. And then that gave me the confidence to continue to fundraise. And it just went on and on and on, and people got to know. I spoke about it at the masjid, Jummah prayer time, and a lot of people came up to me. I said, oh, we'd like to give you this much money, we'd like to give you this much money. And Allah just opens the doors for you. God just makes life in this, when you have a good intention and you want to do something in the right way, then don't worry about how it's going to happen. Since doing this, I've learnt this. If you want to do something good, make the intention to do it. The tools that you're going to need, they will fall in place. The people will come to you, and this is the way the world is. And that was it. And I raised this money and I went out there. And when I went out there, I came back a totally different person. I really, really did. And I'm not trying to, this is not about my personal experience. I'm selling this to you, but genuinely to the listeners out there who are listening, I came back as a totally different person. And ever since, I've never been the same person that I was before. I don't care for material things. And yes, I do, from a point of view that I need things, but really it's more than that. I think my life has changed. And if you're looking for this change in your life, and if you're looking for, you just want to get out, you want to do something that is meaningful, then, you know, contact one of your local charity representatives, find out about the deployments, get on Facebook, get on social media, find out about it. I put a post up earlier on because we're looking for volunteers. Get out there and have a look, see what is out there, because the world is a very big place, and as little money as we have, there are people out there in the world that obviously need our help and support. And this is about empowering our volunteers too. So a great opportunity, I think. I think Boots On is a really, really interesting idea, and we'll look to see how that evolves and how that grows. We've got about 15 seconds before we go on a break, but we'll have Sister Sadak back on after the show. Brother Shujah will be joining us after the break, and inshallah we'll see you in a few minutes.
You're listening to Salaam Radio, and it's now time for Isha Azan.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا
الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم، وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته. اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم بك نحيا وبك نموت وإليك المصير. رضينا بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيا ورسولا.
Did you know that cow's milk has a cure for every illness in it? Yes, it's true. On the authority of Abdullah ibn Masud, may Allah be pleased with him, the Prophet ﷺ said, drink cow's milk for very little.
This is Salaam Radio, Peterborough's Muslim community radio. Broadcasting on 106.2 FM and online.
Assalamu alaikum listeners, welcome back. You're listening to Salaam Radio live on 106.2 FM. We are Facebook live today, so head over to Facebook if you're listening over the airs and you can see our guests who are in the studio right now. We've had Sister Sadak on, who's been giving us an emotional kind of like history about how she came into the charity sector, and we've just been talking about how to get involved if you want to get out and about to see parts of the world and obviously do your part in deployments and charity work. But obviously I'm thinking about the fact that not everybody can travel. Not everybody is in a position to be flying out. Not everybody in a position to go out there, especially if we've got kids, we've got 9-to-5 jobs. It's difficult. So in the studio, we have Brother Shujah. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Shujah.
Wa alaikum salam.
Now, Brother Shujah is here from Children of Adam. Is that right?
That's correct.
And Children of Adam is a local charity.
Yeah.
And how long have you been?
I think fifth year now.
Fifth year, mashallah.
Yes, alhamdulillah.
Excellent.
Fifth year.
So you're a local charity here, based in Peterborough, but obviously you do international work as well.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, but I'm more interested in about the work that you do locally in Peterborough.
Okay. As many of you are aware, especially a lot of the listeners, with Children of Adam, our first project was the local homeless. So when we first started, that was our first project. That, obviously, we had, like I said, £10 we put into a pot, 4 of us. So for £40, we're not going to be able to travel the world. So we thought, okay, who do we help first? And obviously there's people on our doorstep that need help. So, okay, right, we're going to help the homeless. So alhamdulillah, from there, we've managed to build it so much that local members of the community now, they'll go out without even asking now, because they know what days or times we're going to be there, or the homeless congregate. So they're there with food, water. They'll text us or ring us if any of us can, go and accommodate and help out. We will do. Otherwise, we'll send somebody down to oversee things. SubhanAllah, through that, a couple of other charities that are local to Peterborough as well now, they've started doing it as well on a regular basis, which is good. Some brothers from Coventry that we know, they started doing it. There was some other brothers in Luton, they started doing it as well. So just through one, drop in the ocean, that ripple effect. Wow. So alhamdulillah, so that's fantastic that Muslims, around the country, I was sort of waking up thinking, hold on a second, charity really does begin at home as well. We need to help obviously our brothers and sisters abroad, but again, you can remember we've got brothers and sisters here, regardless of race, regardless of religion. With Islam, alhamdulillah, we don't have that, okay, we only help brown people, we only help Muslims. No, we help humanity. So we've got to help mankind. So alhamdulillah, through that, helping the local homeless. Obviously another project was the hospital, the children's ward. As many of your listeners know, that when they had children are ill, that's where they go, and when they're admitted, they've got to stay there. So we started doing toy drops around Eid time. So that was twice a year, and that's alhamdulillah gone up a little bit as well now. And through that as well, just last year, one of the brothers organised a fundraiser climbing Mount Snowdon. So alhamdulillah, through that, we managed to actually do one of the rooms, a soft play room up in the hospital, because that's something that they needed. And we said, right, we'll take it, we'll do it for you. So alhamdulillah, that was completed last year. And now there's a bathroom, a speciality bathroom that's there, that needs doing up. So we've taken that on now. So inshallah, we're in the process of doing that. So when the kids have to, there's certain children that have certain needs. So what happens in these bathrooms, these special bathrooms, they've got to spend quite a lot of time in there. So rather than staring at blank walls with neutral colours, we said, look, you know what, we'll do something. We'll put TVs, put radio, put something in there that they can just, when they're spending time in there, they can not be bored, but just, just their mind just still be active. So inshallah, we're doing that at the moment. We've hired a support worker at the Citizens Advice Bureau, where obviously a lot of people go to get advice. They were struggling quite a bit, and so we reached out. We said, look, how can we help? And they needed somebody, so we thought, okay, you know what, we'll do it. We'll pay for a member of staff on a part-time basis over the year. So alhamdulillah, that person, since we started, I think it was in December, has already dealt with 200 people.
MashaAllah.
So since December, 200 people have already been seen by the member staff that we, Children of Adam, or you, the donors, are helping to facilitate. Alhamdulillah, through there, with this advisor, we have to remember it's not just a member of staff. This member of staff now is helping somebody who's now either they're in a situation where they need to claim some sort of benefit, or they don't know where to turn to because they've never claimed benefits before, where they've been working full time. So now, rather than sort of going into sort of the mode of where they become homeless or become sort of like poverty stricken, this person now assists them in such a way that they don't have to go down that route. So again, they've got help straight away, and they can just stay where they are, whether it be with families or whatever. Another one we just started with is with IDVA, which is the Independent Domestic Violence Advisors. So helping women, abused women. So inshallah, and men, obviously there is abused men out there as well,
Right, yeah.
but the majority that come forward, unfortunately, is women.
Yeah.
A lot of the men is still quite taboo, and they won't really come forward as much. So alhamdulillah, we've just gone down that, and we've managed to help a few women now who have had to get away from abusive relationships and that need a short-term grant or help in the right direction. So alhamdulillah, we managed to help a few women there. And again, regardless of background, we don't care about religion, we don't care about colour. If you're going to come to us for help, alhamdulillah, as Muslims, we can't turn you away. We have to help. That's our duty as Muslims, number one. So alhamdulillah, we've started doing that. We're looking with schools, working in schools with, I don't know if many people know, but there's a lot of young girls that obviously during their time of the month, they don't go to school or they can't afford sanitary products. So we're starting to look at that, so how we can supply them as well, so they learn how their education doesn't have to suffer. So we've got that going on. We're in talks with a few schools at the moment. The other thing we're looking to do is a community fridge. So basically what we'll do, we're going to get a fridge, we'll put it in a particular cafe or shop, wherever it may be around the city, so local people from the community or businesses can donate food, put it in the fridge, and then anybody that needs it and they can't afford food, they can just go there, pick what they need and take it. So inshallah, that's our project that we're just looking into now. And the other thing is a community cafe. So inshallah, that's what we're working on now, because I don't know if you've spoken about the Syrian refugee crisis. There is some Syrian refugees that have come over to the UK with their families that are settled. Now, a lot of people don't realise these people weren't beggars. They weren't, people off the streets. These were working people, people with pride, people that looked after their families.
Dignity.
Yeah, and they don't want to come here and become beggars. That's not their way. So alhamdulillah, there are a few families that we're looking after at the moment with Peterborough City Council. So what we're doing, we're looking to open this cafe where we can employ two of the guys. One was a baker, another guy, he had, again, something in the food industry. So we're looking to employ them. So we can set this cafe up, employ them, so they can then earn money rather than claiming benefits or claiming X, Y, and Z where they're not entitled to at the moment, but to go down that route where they have to be dependent on others. So they can, again, supply, provide for their families. So inshallah, from that very same cafe, then we can assist in homeless people again with the community fridge. So where if somebody is homeless, somebody's whatever, need a drink, need some hot food, whatever, there's a base they can come to, and inshallah, and grab food as well.
I'm just going to stop there for a minute now.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to say, I actually feel really embarrassed. Should I tell you why? Because I had no idea that you guys were doing such amazing work in the community. I'm absolutely gobsmacked. I can't believe it. Talking about, your list is long.
Do you know what? I've not even scratched the surface. I believe it or not, there's so many things, and my head is
I'm just shell shocked. The stuff that you're doing, and it just really made me think, because we just had a discussion about how, charities, about how we got to support people internationally, and about fundraising and raising money and empowering volunteers, right? And now we've gone from that to, we're not even talking about a lot of the things that you just talked about. We're not even talking about money here.
No.
We're just talking about helping. This goes back to my comment that I made earlier on, that I've mentioned twice now, that charity is, smiling is just charity. Being nice to somebody is charity.
Of course it is.
And for those people who obviously find it difficult to travel or can't get away for whatever reason, these people can get involved and help you guys with what you're doing, right?
Yeah, of course. For example, like you said, smiling. Charity is simple as a smile.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if many of you know Brother Atiq.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he could talk for England. Yeah, he's one of our founding members. And mashallah, no matter where we are, if we're on a train, we're on wherever, and obviously with the environment the way it is with Muslims, you people sitting around you and sort of be agitated. You've got these guys with beards, and all of a sudden, you know what? We'll have the whole carriage laughing, because that's the way we are. That's us. And, subhanAllah, through that, one of the brothers that we met, through the floods in Cumbria and Yorkshire, who was down and out racist, he didn't like Muslims full stop. He was in the army. He fought abroad. And when he was like told, now you're going to team up with these boys to help out, he's like, do you know what? By the end of the day, he goes, they're my brothers. You guys are my brothers.
That's amazing.
And then anytime we want anything, he goes, right, I'm at the end of the phone, you call me, I'm there. And alhamdulillah, when we've done fundraising for whatever, he just comes down. He travels from Norwich. He'll come straight down, his own expense, his own whatever, brings his wife. And he went on Facebook the very day that he met all the brothers. He went on Facebook that evening and put an apology on for the way he used to think and felt. And that's, it's no one is dawah beautiful, but, just being Muslims, being good people.
Yeah.
It's just, and that's what it's about.
And that is it. And mashallah, that's wonderful the way
That
you guys do it. And so obviously, I was just going to go back to, you talked about the hospital.
Yeah.
And you talked about, so tell us a bit more about the toys and around Eid time. And
okay, so basically what it is, obviously, a lot of people do toys drop during Christmas, whatever. And obviously, as Muslims, we think, okay, you know what, Eid is coming up.
Absolutely.
For us, that's special.
Yeah.
And so, if our children at that time are going to enjoy money, food, toys, new stuff, why shouldn't, kids that are poorly? There's a lot of people in there that, sometimes, especially children that have to be in there, sort of like monthly or whatever it may be because of the certain illnesses that they got. And you just go there and you just buy a little something, just give it to them. And they love it. Do you know what? And the parents sort of think, what's going on here? Here's come 4 or 5 guys with beards and that. Do you know what I mean? All dressed in black. What's kicking off? And then we just like, right, here you go, there's £300-400 worth of toys. You do what you want with them. And the nurses, honestly, they see us now. They're like, oh, hey, boys, like, come straight in. So it's like second home for a couple of the team members. Can just go in at any time. Right, what do you need? All right, leave it with us. So like this, certain items that they need. Okay, let us know what's the cost, what it is. We'll go to some of our donors and we'll get the money off them. Don't worry about that. We'll get the money. So alhamdulillah, there's local businesses here. I'll be honest with you, without them guys, honestly, they help us out so much. We'll just go to us, all right, we need this. But no, we need it. It's okay. They'll just give it. Because they trust us. They know that when we say we need something, we're not going to spend it willy-nilly. We're going to get that thing properly. And then alhamdulillah and just give it to whoever's needed.
I mean, that's interesting talking about young children here because Sadak, when we went to Turkey, I remember we actually organised a fun day. And recently in Jordan, we organised a fun day. And actually that's working with young people, working with children, especially orphans, or even children who are poorly, like Brother Shujah is talking about in hospital. That's quite an emotional. I mean, can you tell us a little bit? Can you remind us what went on there? Because I know that the volunteers.
I think probably one of the most emotional days that we ever have on a international volunteer program is actually the day that we spend with children. And previously, when we've been out to Turkey, there's an orphanage that's been built. It's actually a beautiful orphanage that looks after 150 children, and they would put on like a whole show for us.
Yeah,
so they've been looked after in the centre. They get food, education, shelter, welfare, everything. So and the kids love it. For them, it's like, oh, we've got guests coming, and we're going to do a whole theatre performance, and they'll practice for weeks on end, and they'll sing the sheeds and qasides and poetry. They'll dress up. They love dressing up. So some of the girls, there'll be a couple of princesses, right? And then the brothers, they'll be like the star of the shows, and they put this together for us. And then we have a whole day of activities where we just play games. But it's beautiful because really, like, you have to put everything into context, that that these children, they came from happy homes. They came from a place that this was their comfort zone. They were safe, they were secure, they had mom, they had dad, they had all the siblings under one roof. And that's been completely torn apart for them. Most of them have lost their fathers, they're living with their mothers. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. Food is not guaranteed. And to be able to be in a position where we are able to put on just a fun day for them or some sort of games, activities, that's an honour. Because for those couple of hours, that those children will forget about everything. They'll forget about the hardship. They'll forget about where they're sleeping, and where dad is, and they'll get to be, princesses and princes, and that always makes us emotional because we see them and you just, children are innocent.
Exactly.
And we see that innocence in them, and we see that beauty in them. And as much as or any person knows that you want the best for your own child, and someone else's son or daughter is not any different. You know, we want happiness and we want sukoon and we want ease for all of these children. And that connection that you're able to build is always, it's always powerful.
Absolutely.
And deep. And, so many of the volunteers can name dozens of children that they met by name.
Yeah.
And their ages and what they liked, what they disliked, etc. And it's powerful that you can make that connection in just a short space of time. So what you're doing here in the UK is amazing as well, because I think it's true. You know, for us, charity is such an integral part of Islam, and it's an integral part of who we are. It's fundamental. And
It is fundamental in us. It's innate.
From a young age, and it is true. Charity does start at home. Charity starts within our home.
Absolutely.
Charity starts with our family and then our neighbours, and as much as we should go out internationally and help anyone that is in need, we should also look to those that are in a community and that live amongst us, and do as much as we possibly can. So it's beautiful to hear what you're doing.
Exactly.
And with young children, I mean, I don't know if you remember when you were kids, there's some moments that you just remember when you were the happiest. And you don't know when, whatever you all might be doing in the hospital or you might be doing with your fun days, with those children, they will grow up having that one memory in maybe a really dark part of their life. You just don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, a couple of other things.
Yeah,
do you know what? I'll go on
No, we want to hear more.
School trips, for poor pupils.
Right, okay.
So, for example, sometimes you get school trips and, their parents, they send a slip at home and they look at the price and go, you can't go. So you're thinking, right, okay, why should they miss out?
Absolutely.
Just because their parents can't afford it? Okay, do you know what? We'll assist, we'll pay for it. So that's the other thing. Alhamdulillah, again, going back to the Syrian refugees, at the moment we've got 4 Syrian girls, that are sponsored, that go to Iqra Academy. So it's the Muslim all-girls school. So alhamdulillah, which their transport is paid for, they get free lunch. What else do they get? Their fees are paid for. So that's going on. The boxing club, Top Yard Boxing Club.
Oh, yes.
So again, we assist with that, which I'm going to go to straight after now. So alhamdulillah, the lads that are there are doing they're phenomenal. Honestly, our lads are doing fantastic at the moment. They're just literally going out. We just done our second home show last week, and the guys are just winning fights like no one's business. So again, he's getting young lads, rather than tossing on the street, right? Come to the boxing club, where they'll train, and some of the guys, it just gives them incentive rather than fighting outside. Right, fight in an environment where it's controlled. Yeah. And it's nothing like that, it just teaches you discipline. Discipline, yeah. Because the very same boys that used to be bullies now look after others.
And that's it.
So, and that's the way we sort of try to work it. Because we always tell people, you're going to come here, we'll train. But if we find out you've gone to school and you think you're a hard man, you don't come back. So it's something that they enjoy and they want to come back. So because of that, they have to change their way of thinking as well and their attitudes. So, but there's alhamdulillah, loads of things that are in the pipeline, but it's just everything we're trying to do.
So, I mean, if people locally want to get involved and want to help out, because I could just imagine doing so much with you guys if I had time. How can people get involved?
Just go on the website, childrenofadam.net, just email. Yeah. Go into the email there, email that you want to volunteer. Brother Munir, who looks after this side of it, he'll go into it, look in. The thing with volunteers at the moment, obviously we've seen the news lately with a lot of the cases that are going on. Yeah. Because with Children there's only 4 of us that started it. Right, okay. We're now increased to 7 trustees. Okay. And one of the guy who does that, who's in charge of our project. So we're very tight knit. Okay. So anybody that volunteers, anybody comes to us, we're just so look at what they've done, what their background is, where they come from, because no matter where they go, where we go, when you're working with vulnerable people, and we've seen this whether it's here or abroad, people look at you and they attach themselves because you're their lifeline. Absolutely. And there's people that we've known out in the news that have abused that position. Right. Okay. And there's no way that we will allow anybody that's going out for us or going with us to do that, because at the end of the day, we're there to help people. Absolutely. And for example, with going back to the homeless, when you looked in the news in the last couple of years, vulnerable girls being used and abused for whatever. Absolutely. And even last year, 2 twin sisters that were in the late teens, we met them in one of the car parks, and we're going, okay, where you'll sleep tonight? Oh, in a car somewhere, just any abandoned car, they'll sleep. And you're thinking, okay, but where's your help? Now anybody else got to come in and think, oh, do you know what? Come stay at my house. Or come stay, I'll give you a place to live. How easy is it now to get these vulnerable girls who are in a position where it's freezing cold outside just to sort of dupe them into something X, Y, and Z? So again, right, okay, do you know what? We'll find out. We'll try to ring a few people. There's a few shelters that we're in contact with and try to get them somewhere where it's safe. But it's just, You know, so we've got to, as volunteers,
Absolutely, you need
we've
to
got to be very
you
careful
need to
who we
vet,
who
and
comes.
volunteers need to be prepared to be
of
met.
course, yeah, we vet them so.
And I'm so glad that you said that because it is so important.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But there is scope for volunteers to come
Of course,
along.
yeah, alhamdulillah. And again, we always ask for people that, you know, want to do fundraisers. You know, if you've got any ideas, okay, just email or ping us an email. One of the brothers will get back to you. And then if you need help setting up a fundraiser, do anything, okay, right, let's do it.
So,
like one of the brothers, we're doing Snowdon again in June after Ramadan. At the moment, there's about 48, 50 people that are ready to do it. And most of them non-Muslim.
That's brilliant.
You know, so alhamdulillah.
That's great.
Fantastic.
And that's great. Well, look, I mean, I think that's a brilliant kind of, I think what you guys have talked about is brilliant. We've gone from one extreme to traveling the world, and all the way to all of the things that local charities are doing, like Children of Adam. And there must be lots of charities up and down the country,
of course,
doing this amazing kind of work. And I think the point of this show today, listeners, is about how can we be creative when it comes to charity. Now, I've learned so much about charity today. I just always thought charity, raising money, get out there, help the people who need it. But it's not just about money. It's about maybe lending an ear, maybe supporting a neighbour who's maybe living on his own poorly.
I don't know if you, last year we had a lady in Breton, her house burnt down in Breton, and she had quite a large sort of family. But the problem was the council couldn't give her a house, so she had half her kids living at one house, another half living in another house. And we said, you know what we'll do? We'll take you out for a meal so you can sit together. For 2 weeks, they had not ate together. So we said, you know what, we'll do it. So we took them out to one of the local restaurants. We said, okay, you know what, as a family, sit down and eat together. And they were in tears. They go, why? You guys, from a whole different background, that tell us that we're all these bad people, that you brought us out, you paid for taxis to bring us here, you fed us, you brought our family back together. And you know what? And that's what it's about.
It makes people happy.
It's about service.
Of course it is.
Ultimately, it doesn't matter who you want to help. It's just about offering that service where you're going to utilise your set of skills, your good intentions, and just to provide ease for someone, even if it's on a short period.
I mean, you've got the local food bank here, with Masjid Khadija.
Absolutely.
Again, if you can't give your time, just buy a can of beans and just drop it off to them so somebody else can instantly eat. Do you know what I mean? And
really, that's quite profound, isn't it? Because charity is simple, really, if you think about it. It doesn't take much. And what you said about just taking the family out and helping them, it's just an act of kindness, right?
Exactly.
That's all it is. It's an act of kindness.
That's exactly what it is.
So if you guys are listening and you're thinking, how can we get involved in charity? Just think of the most simplest of things. Think about your neighbour. Think about the person on your left. Well, have they gone through something recently? The person on the right, have they gone through something recently? How can you support them? Maybe you and your friends can come together, like you talked about how there was 4 of you. You put £10 together, and you just started off like that. So you know, and this is so important. Now, on that note, I'm just going to talk about a local initiative which has been started called Sadaqah Day. Now, this is actually a national initiative, but somebody locally has started this off. And Sadaqah Day just provides a focus for one day where people can just get together and take part in an act of charity. So, for example, we're going to have volunteers going to a care home. We're going to have some litter picking going on. We're going to have people going and helping clean up some gardens or a graveyard. And if you want to get involved in this is taking place on March the 18th. If you would like to contact the person in charge, contact Salaam Radio, come through us, and we can help you put you into the right direction with that. But that is a really simple initiative. It is one day where you're just doing something good, helping somebody out, somebody local to you, somebody around you. So going into the care home, this is something that I'm going to be doing myself. I really look forward to this. And it's a really simple thing because I'm going to be going in with my guitar and I'm just going to be singing a few songs for those people who just need a little bit of lifting up. And that's it. And it's not going to cost me anything. You know, I've already got a guitar. It's not going to cost me anything. I'm just going to go out there. And
it's just time.
That's
what it is. And just give it time.
Sometimes giving somebody your time is really, really important.
Yeah,
definitely.
You know, and that's it. So charity starts somewhere small. If you want to be helping your local community, and it can go all the way up, all the way out to traveling abroad, helping people who are in crisis, and everything else in between. So. Thank you very much, guys. You really opened my eyes today. I've learned so much about charity.
Inviting us here.
No, it's been absolutely great. We've had Sister Sadak, who's from Muslim Aid, travelled all the way down from London. Thank you very much for joining us in the studio. We've had Brother Shujah as well, who's local.
He's come from around the corner.
Around the corner, and I think he's going to head out to the gym now. Thank you very much for your time for coming along. with us. It's been really, really positive. So listeners, if you have any questions with regards to what we've talked about today, feel free to text or WhatsApp on 07745278978. You can call the studio on 01733602133. If you want to find out details about what these people are doing in their wonderful charities, feel free to contact us, get in touch with them. I think they'd really want to hear from you. I know that there are some deployments coming up to Lebanon. Is that right?
Lebanon
and then Pakistan.
Pakistan in Easter, and then inshallah we're going to be doing something special in Ramadan where we're going to work in Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Jordan during the month of Ramadan.
Wow.
Whilst we're fasting, doing zakat distributions.
So that's a lot.
That is a lot.
Going on in
we
one
can go
month.
into that.
And Brother Shujah, can you tell us something that's one thing that you might be doing in the next couple of weeks? Something that's
In the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, or in the next month?
Well, at the moment, everything's getting ready for Ramadan, isn't it? So
That's
it's just
right.
so it was our local projects. Again, Ramadan. We'll be out in Greece with the Syrian refugees.
Wow.
We'll be out in Jordan, inshallah. And again, whatever, obviously you're
and all the work that you're doing locally with the homeless.
Exactly.
Anyway.
So we're going to be all over the place again, as always.
Excellent. Well, look, we've got the last 9 seconds left. Thank you very much for tuning into the show. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you back in a fortnight. Assalamu alaikum and peace.
Wa alaikum salam.